Hi, I'm Pat Reeves, co-author and co-developer of the HIL model for school renewal. The HIL model is all about helping schools renew and thrive in a way that will help the schools serve their students well and generate student success. School renewal is not something we do once or twice a year or because somebody mandates us to do it. It's not actually something we do. School renewal is about becoming a school that day to day regenerates its ability to focus on student needs, student learning opportunities, and pursue those opportunities with the motivation and the capacity to achieve success. School renewal is about fostering regeneration, revitalization, refocusing, resurging from whatever things come and go to disrupt us from the focus on student success. And it's about fostering all of that from within the school, from in the capacity of the teachers, the principals, and others who serve students in the school, and from the capacity of the students themselves. Like forests, schools renew from the ground up. They renew by creating the conditions that allow teachers and others to bring forth the best in their work and their capacity so that we can help bring forth the potential of students. A forest needs certain conditions to sustain a state of renewal. The forest needs sunlight to generate the energy that help plants thrive and grow. It needs the rain to mix with the nutrients in the soil to feed the roots of those plants. And it needs the plants to be healthy enough to generate viable seeds that will replace plants as they age and provide new life to the forests over time. Just like a healthy forest, schools also require certain conditions to create and sustain renewal. And the 4 high-impact leadership principles provide those conditions. They provide the positive core that gives the lifeblood to the school culture. They provide the collective ownership that ensures everyone is focused on student success and has a consensus around how to get there. They provide the evidence-based decisions that ensure that we understand our students deeply and select the right responses to how we understand them and how we help them learn and grow. And they provide that culture of reflection and continuous learning that the adults in the school need in order to serve students well. And they do that through evidence-based practices that come from teaching science, learning science, leadership science, change science, behavioral psychology and positive psychology, and implementation science. All of those have been brought together to form the HIL model. In a forest, sometimes the conditions that help the forest thrive get out of balance. And when that happens, the forest ends up stressed, renewal slows, and even stalls out. And that threatens to create conditions where the forest cannot support the variety of plant life and the rich variety of animal life that is a home for that forest. Just like the forest, our schools are a home for the rich variety of human life. Our students are the human life that bring life to the existence of the school. And when the conditions for thriving in our schools get out of balance, our students suffer. They suffer because we are not bringing forth the best of our capacity to provide the learning opportunities they so need and so deserve. So just as we need thriving renewed forests, we need thriving renewed schools. We want to work in thriving, renewed schools. And our students deserve to come into our schools every day knowing that they are in a thriving, renewed, self-renewing school. Our students need that more now than ever. We are still going through a time that's very disruptive, a time of social change, change in our environment, and we are doing a wonderful job of adapting and innovating. In the HIL Project, we are so honored to walk alongside all of our schools as they have navigated all of the disruptions of the last year and a half. And we are hoping that with our support and the HIL model for school renewal, we can keep that energy, keep the conditions for thriving alive and well and growing in every one of our schools. If ever there was a time for school renewal, it is now. It is now because change does often threaten to undermine the conditions that support renewal, but we have the learning and the capacity to be able to bring those conditions back into focus, back into coordination and balance. And so we do have the opportunity, and it is the time to renew. We can and we must. We must do it because our students deserve an opportunity for equity and excellence. Equity and opportunity for excellence live and thrive together when we keep the conditions for our schools to thrive and renew themselves. We do this with the HIL process and the model. So the model provides us a three-prong approach. It provides those HIL principles and practices that are based in the science of teaching, learning, leadership, change, behavior, positive psychology, and implementation. Then we translate all of those into cycles of renewal activity that focus on very specific learning targets for students and align our teaching and our leadership and our support around those learning targets. And we achieve those learning targets with evidence-based teaching and learning classroom practice. When we do that, our schools are operating in balance. We are feeding the conditions for our schools to thrive. And that recharges, rebalances, re-energizes our school and creates that culture that invites the students in and invites them to learn and grow every day. With the HIL principles and practices and the HIL school renewal cycle, we are working together to keep our schools in balance and to help our schools thrive. We are also careful about the language we choose. Our language reveals the way we think about the world, the way we think about our work as educators, and the way we think about our students. If we use deficit and problem and failure-based language, that changes our thoughts. And it reveals a thought process that is not optimistic and not hopeful. But when we use appreciative, strengths-based, growth-focused language, it puts us in a mindset for hope and positive expectations. And that mindset and the language that feeds it helps us use actions that are growth-focused, positive, and grounded in the energy and the expertise that we gain from the science of teaching and learning. And we put that to work and we create a culture that supports the positive opportunity of our students to achieve their best selves and our school to achieve its best self. We also have a very particular kind of inquiry that feeds all of this. It's called appreciative inquiry, and it is driven by appreciative and deeply probing questions. We call those double loop questions, and these are the questions that get underneath the surface of how we understand our students and how we understand the opportunity to serve them. These are questions that help us unpack and uncover assumptions that might be interfering and creating barriers in how we serve our students. So our inquiry in the HIL process is powerful, it's deep, and it creates a deeper understanding of our students and our opportunities for serving them. Once we have done that deep inquiry, we can find very clear priority learning targets for our students. And then we go about the process of achieving those learning targets with gold standard implementation guides, guides that align the work of teaching and learning every day in the classroom to achieve those student growth targets, that ensure that the teachers understand and are carrying out the behaviors that are necessary to use evidence-based classroom practices and ensure that the adults in the school are aligning their behaviors. With those gold standard guides, we create a picture that looks like this, where the students and their needs for learning and very specific targets for growth are the center of our focus. And the teachers are honing in on very specific practices and using the behaviors to implement those practices to achieve those student growth targets. And principals and others are aligning their day-to-day behaviors to support that work and to achieve those student growth targets. With our short cycles of school renewal focused on very specific, actionable, achievable growth targets for students, we build a ladder that takes students from their current state of growth and moves them forward steadily, progressively, at an accelerated rate to get to our desired state, the vision we have for them for student success and for equity of student success for our students. Our vision in the HIL Project, our motivation for working with you and helping you incorporate the HIL model for school renewal in your school is so that you can go forward with positive expectations for your students and use bold aspirations to make sure those expectations are truly in line with the opportunity students deserve. And then you can pursue them with confidence, with energy, with urgency, with persistence and courage, and always know that you're moving forward at a steady pace and achieving and appreciating this and celebrating the success along the way. By being a school who is part of the HIL School renewal process and the project that we're doing to bring that process into your school, you are part of a community of optimism, a community of hope, a community of belief in the science of teaching, learning, leadership, and positive expectations for students. And through this community that we're building together, we are working to build a ladder to the stars, to the opportunity for success for every student in every school. Thank you for all that you are doing to be learners as adults so that your school can learn and grow, keep all the conditions for success in balance, and move forward into the future knowing that you are going to achieve equity and excellence for your students. You will build that ladder to the stars. Thank you.